All right. So, day 2 of book production. Just watched the beginning of Black Panther. Kind of, obviously, I'm not going to make an African story. It's going to be based on Incan, South American culture, but the concept of, particularly, one thing I remembered was then Michael B. Jordan's character meets the woman in the museum, and that's like kind of the first time we see him. And so we could use that. I can use that for the first time we see the person approaching Jesus Chan for help, taking back the power. So I guess like the relics that would in the future lead to the power. So let's see here. Jesus Chan deals with fame because of new abilities. So this one we want to hit the ground running. Can you see mine on the screen? Yeah, I'm on the screen. This is going to be almost hit the ground running. Hold on, let me real quick. Let's go over. Let me see what I got from yesterday. Magician. So then this man Ink can take power before realizing his evil plans for the position. For the abilities, let's say / abilities. New magical abilities. That good. So we're gonna need to develop a backstory for the bad guy. Let's make a quick note. Develop backstory for villain. I kind of want to be like Michael B. Jordan's, where the character in the Black Panther, whereas I think if I remember correctly, I haven't gotten to this part in the movie, but I think his father, that was his father, so he has a rightful claim. Really, it could just be heritage, Incan heritage, supposed, right? Because he's going to be Incan heritage. Gives him claim to the relics. All right, let's see here. Setting character. So we almost want to think of Jesus Chan like an Indiana Jones type guy. He's like Indiana Jones was a professor. I think a professor of archaeology, and Jesus Chan he's a museum worker. So Jesus Chan deals with fame because of his new abilities with my magic, hit the ground running. It could even be like deals with fame. Maybe like stops. Even like stopping crime like late at night. Or saves a cat. Like, think of it like almost like you're saving the cat moment. So we see magic. See like about not abilities or outlines. See magic. See like character. What is this process you're using for an outline? This is from The Anatomy of Story by John Truby. It is a screenwriting book, and I went through a couple, maybe probably like 5 or 6 different books, and this is the one that stuck. I like the way it explains it. So kind of the concept is that if you have a rather detailed outline, it provides the scaffolding, and then you just kind of fill it in. And so really, if you stick around to watch the whole progression of the book production, like once I have the 30 to 50 scenes fleshed out, created, organized, you know, kind of like where they should be in the story, it just turns into cranking out words, and then you're just like, all right, well, let me just write this story, but it's just kind of super straightforward because you already know it's kind of gonna work. But yeah, so I've used this on what 10 books now. This exact concept. This copy's actually getting a little worn. This book, I might have to get a new one soon, but yeah. Oh yeah, good call. Thanks, man. Thank you. Can we? Is there a way we can make an admin? Admin to this guy? Yeah. That's the one. But it's good because since this is a screenplay story or a screenplay outline process, it's easy to take like books and adapt them for different mediums. So I can do like I could write a book, I could turn it into a movie, I could turn it into a video game, because it's just it's just putting rubber to the road because it's already built. The outline's already there. So saving the cat. So I have to come up with something like this. It's almost like in Black Panther, T'Challa saves the girls, and his that girl Nakia or something, I think her name is, but he saves the girls from the van and then kind of takes out the bad guys. So that could be this. That's this scene. I'll come up with something. It'll happen. Approached by American Hispanic young man interested in Jesus' help finding lost Incan treasure at the museum. To be honest with you, it might actually be that, right, creating this outline takes longer than writing the actual book. But dude, right? I know. Who was Adam said he wants that to be a video game. Anime for the Operator Saga. White gang cosplay. Okay, like we have to be very careful. White what was it? White jackets. No, it's not white gang. That makes it sound like it's like a neo-Nazi type of group. No. It's not white power gang. It's white jackets is one of the gangs in the Operator trilogy. Interested in Jesus' help finding lost Incan treasure because he has the treasure map. Jesus declined, saying he has a lot of Mayan people to help Merida in the area surrounding Chichen Itza, evidenced by first time we see Jesus in this story. Oh, nice. That's what's up. Write non-monetary fan fiction for the Elite Dangerous game. That's what you want to do, or is that what you're saying I should do, or I do? Talks to Balaam. Shadow Jaguar about other indigenous society and magical abilities, wondering if they exist. Balaam doesn't know anything but thinks that power might exist similar to my magic. Okay. Stranger makes donation to museum. You've been writing fan fiction for months. Oh hell yeah, that's what's up. Is it published on Amazon, Wattpad, anything like that? Stranger makes donation to museum to contingent on Jesus going with him to Peru. See, I think this one might be a little bit shifty. We need, because I don't like this, because I need Jesus to decide to go, not be forced to go. So this needs to almost be some sort of, what could happen that makes Inada.cz. Oh, nice. I'll have to check it out. Oh, I've never check out that website. I don't even know what I've never even been to that website before. Trainer makes donation to. See, this is where I'm having trouble. Talks to bombs anything similar to my magic. So I actually think I might scratch this. And what we're going to do is stranger. Let's see. Stranger shows up and handles situation normally taken care of by Jesus, earning his trust. Oh, sweet. I'm actually going to go ahead and link there now. Oh, this is pretty cool. Logbook. It's like a logbook. Oh, I like that. Very interesting. I'll have to skim through there when I get off stream tonight. Oh yeah, man. That's why I'm trying to like I've been watching some of the other the writers on here, and I'm like, oh man, I think I can. Like I've been getting a lot of inspiration. It's great where it's inspiration from them. So it's like I think I can kind of pay it forward, you know. Because it's only gonna take me. I mean, I'll probably be done with this book all written, ready for the editor by maybe the end of July. So something like that. Change the situation, only taken care of by Jesus, earning his trust. Saves. Maybe you know what I could do is here. Becomes convinces. I bet you if the stranger convinces the mom, then he'd go, because that's the kind of character that Jesus is. And I mean, I'll be honest, I'm kind of a mama's boy as well, so it hits close to home. But let's say stranger meets Beatrice. You guys don't know who she is yet, but you will. It's Beatrice, and she strong, and she urges Jesus to investigate. Oh, nice. That's what's up, man. In-game actual play makes a for sure. Jesus agrees as long as he can bring a sidekick. That's who he can hear everything, similar to Dolores. Flight to Peru and examine an initial treasure map. Learn about other young men searching for the same treasure. Learn that there were 2 copies of the same document, and one got sent to the other person. I don't know if I like that. We can leave it for now. Knowing they have to move fast because they already design get started right away. Traveling to Machu Picchu. Traveling to Cusco for following up on the first clue. Hidden steps below unassuming house. Going on a serious tunnel cave where they find the second clue. Sidekicks when it takes booby traps, and the 3 of them with Balaam barely escape. Jesus demonstrates magic by teleporting object person high ledge to save their lives. Shadow warrior stop by teleporting objects. Let's do this multiple times. Shadow warrior stops incoming boulder. Okay, we can do that. Second clue is religion on a high mountain / cliff. Okay, so now we're going exact opposite. First contact, we see condors, not contours. Sees condors. First contact with other person hunting for the treasure because of the layout. Talks one-on-one and finds out that they're scared and uncertain. You know what? This is actually, think The Hobbit. There's a scene in The Hobbit when Thorin Oakenshield is in the, oh fudge. There's going to be some Hobbit nerd movie aficionados that are going to get me for this, but I think it's is it a goblin or a troll? GQ, do you know if it's a goblin or troll that Thorin Oakenshield gets trapped by, and then the sword's glowing, and then they have to escape? Oh man. Anyways, I like that. I like that kind of like that for the mountain cliff scene, so they can hide almost, and then reminding himself when he's stealing Mayan codices. We can make it almost like a. So he could bring back Mayan magic, reminding him of himself when he's stealing Mayan codices. He just touches them, leaving an essence trail. Yes, because the other guy has the tracker perk enabled. Look, Call of Duty for you guys. Rest in Kubrick, ever not understanding next clue. Discuss situations. See how Balam and Saige feel about helping American. Yeah, I think it was a troll. Because it wasn't an orc. It was it was in like it was in the Hobbit trilogy though, not the Lord of the Rings one. Rest in Kubrick, ever not understanding next clue. Discuss situations. See how Balam and Saige feel about helping American-born man. Like the doubts have been sown. Third clue is in the oldest market in Lima to find a relic key that will unlock the chest they discovered on the cliff. This one can be similar to choosing the correct chalice in Indiana Jones. Find ropes and knots, beating other enemy to the punch. Okay, no magic appears to the enemy or hired Jesus, making Balaam and him skeptical. Found by the other searcher because the other Incan searcher because of the tracking ability shows up and confronts the person who hired Jesus, knowing him from long ago when they were kids. Yeah, this is the background. They fight. Police show up and arrest. Called by the American. Jesus brushes aside, thinking the man's crazy. Exploration better magic abilities. So this is almost like the training scene. Where they're trying to find the magic that the guy has, even though we know he doesn't have any. More time goes by. The more. Oh, whoops. Didn't mean to move that. The more time, the more he's realized the man he's working for isn't good. I'll put good in quotes just because I hate that kind of binary black and white. Only once power kicks the dogs instead of yeah, okay. Jesus visits other man in jail, learns that the man Jesus worked for is a descendant of Francisco Pizarro. Ooh, yeah. Now I remember why we threw that in. Somehow I got to figure out why he also got. Maybe, let me write this. Maybe, like a national treasure, a grandfather, obsessed with finding Incan treasure. Incan relics, because they don't know that it's treasure, they just know it's relics. Maybe grandfather says finding Incan relics. Father dismisses. Father of American dismisses the search. Father of Incan, I'll say Peruvian to keep track of it. But then Oh, yeah, but then... Okay, yeah, so this works. So, Father American dismisses the search. Father Peruvian marries Incan woman and settles down to earn a living, abandoning the search. Grandfather dies and leaves 2 copies of treasure map to 2 oldest grandchildren, their cousins. Because I think T'Challa and Michael B. Jordan's character, if I remember correctly, Michael B. Jordan's character, Warmonger, was what's-his-face's son? The prince's son? Oh, man, I gotta look this up. Because I believe... Warmonger in the movie... As T'Chaka is into... Oh yeah, T'Chaka ordered Zuri to lie that Njobu had disappeared and left behind Njobu's American son to maintain the lie. Yeah, so they're... So T'Challa's dad and Warmonger's dad are brothers. So yeah, so cousins. So yeah, we can keep that. That works. But the only reason the grandfather thought he was Mayan, he had Mayan or Incan. Sorry, I just wrote a whole long book about Mayans. I never thought he had Incan blood, but was mistaken. All right. Learns that the man... See, this one we're going to have to get rid of because it's not... We already figured out who that is. They're cousins. So we will strike through here. Is... cousins with Incan with American is cousins with the American. True story of the treasure maps emerges, created when Francisco Pizarro took over Incan Empire. Atahualpa. So Atahualpa is the last last emperor of the Inca Empire. All right. Jesus torn because he doesn't like Monteo. Jesus relates strike through format font strike through relates Pizarro with Montejo becomes determined to help bring back Incan relics. Jesus sees another part of the map process that says that another part that the American didn't have of the map prophecy that says that taking the not so much people and least magic. Okay, so now we find out that it does. There is the possibility of magic for all Incan descendants. Jesus tells American who hired him about helping everyone get magic. The man doesn't care what everyone else and only wants magic for himself. Reminding Jesus of Hugh. Okay, Jesus makes plans for bringing Peruvian from prison, putting his freedom at risk. That's the first big battle. And then the sidekick steals the knots. Oh, yep. I'll say relics, so I don't have to think about this. From American born. Shows up outside the prison. Travel to Machu Picchu together with fugitive. Greeted by police and American in the rain. Balam weak, no shadow word because in the presence of different nations' power. Police take away rightful heir. He can't do anything because his powers are tracking and not offensive. Okay, his American take the chest and knots with him back to his car. He breaks out of police custody and runs the knots. Side belongs to Jackson. The magnetites might not mix. His pauses decides he doesn't care if he loses magic and takes the knots from the American. He can teleport organic matter. Brings back Incan descendant. Oh, with combined powers. Brings back Incan descendant, shoves knots into his hand. Incan puts knots on a race platform at midnight on the 6th day after summer solstice. Contact creates vortex which pulls magic from everyone that explodes, releasing magic back into the trio from Mexico and the Incan. Incan descendants wants to go to American, but Jesus stops them, saying Harry doesn't have magic, no reason to continue his punishment. Okay. That works. It works-ish as like a rough, very rough outline. It's all going to... The cool part about this is like the whole thing changes. All right. Psychological self-revelation. So the self-revelation... What does he learn about himself? Let's see, what? Really, it's like trust his instincts. Trust. Jesus learns to trust his instincts. Something seemed off about American from the beginning. and it takes throughout moral self-revelation. He can be a guide for other cultures, other people and cultures, and we see this in the way he embraces being a mentor to his sidekick over the course of the story. Psychological weakness, okay, that's born out of the revelation, so doesn't trust his instincts, uncertain, naive. Moral weakness, uncomfortable being a leader and having people listen to his opinions / advice. It's gonna be interesting to write that kind of uncertainty. All right, problem. The problem our hero faces at the beginning of the story. I mean, really, the problem would be someone shows up at his work looking to hire him. It's not really a problem. What was the problem in the first book? Let me look real quick. So the good thing about doing the same process for every single book is I can see what my previous outlines are. So I can kind of use that as a basis. So the initial problem, we can make it about the racism, the neo-racism. Problem. So what is the problem or crisis your hero faces at the beginning of the story? Let's see. Let's go back to the beginning. Problem. I mean, really, he's uncomfortable. Uncomfortable with his responsibilities. No, the problem is there's another culture might have magical powers like the Maya. Desire. Jesus wants to help other indigenous people who experience soft racism. It's like soft racism, but I hate saying racism because it's like that's such a charged word. He wants to help other indigenous people who experience let's say marginalized. And so he helps the most. He can help the most by bringing back indigenous magic for all the Inca. Opponent at first. Peruvian treasure hunter. Then, in reality, American who hired him. The plan: go to Peru, find the relics, investigate magical claims. Battle. Break Peruvian out from prison. And then travel to Machu Picchu for final showdown. New equilibrium. Incan magic is back. Jesus is back in Merida, Mexico. All right. Hero Jesus Chan. Oh, now I gotta come up with names. All right, Jesus Chan. He is going to be, what archetype is he? This is Prince. First opponent is the First would be the Peruvian. Common. Incan population today. There's got to be some Incans today, just like there's Maya. Quechua. So the Quechua people Inca. then we can just look up common Quechuan names. I like to have like pretty, popular names. We could have it be a girl. Urpi, Ilari, Quechua girl names. Yeah, let's make it a girl. Urpi, Chaska. We'll name her Chaska. Quechua last name. Here we go. Mamani, Cheska Mamani. I like that. Cheska Mamani. And then the American is a boy, and we will name him Amaru. Is that a name? Did I see that? Amaru. Oh, not regular. Descendants of mixed into other ethnics. Yeah. So that's like they're gonna have to be mixed because Incan. I mean, everyone's so mixed. Even like so the book I wrote already, it's coming out in June. It's Mayan, but it's about like kind of similar concept, but for Mayan. But it's like everyone's mixed and Hispanicized and whatnot. I'm gonna say Amaru. I like that. Amaru. No, but he's gonna be American, so he should just have a normal name. Like what's it called? Warmonger is really Eric Stevens or something, right? Yeah. Let's just make him a normal American name. Top American boy names. Let's say Hispanic. Ferdinand. Yeah, because that'll make Fernando win the Pizarro, Francisco Pizarro. Fernand. Yeah, true. There really isn't. Like my grandmother, on her. So the reason I got into all this indigenous stuff is, or like not stuff, right? Indigenous kind of research and books is because my grandmother, on her birth certificate, it says Indian. I think they still used Indian back then, and so but she's in like Mayan highland territory, and so it'd be a quarter. She was pretty much full Indio, if you will, and then I think my grandfather was European, and then I'm half white, half Salvadoran, with the Salvadoran being indigenous and European, if that makes sense. Fernan Perez, Fernan Sanchez, Fernan Ramirez, Fernan Torres, Fernan Flores, Rivera. Fernan Rivera, I like that. That sounds good. Fernan Rivera. So the ally is going to be Mayan. So let's say common Maya boy names. Maybe I just want to go something basic. Maybe like Hugo. Hugo. Mayan last names. Hugo. Hugo Petch. I'm gonna say Hugo Cocom. So Nachi Cocom is one of the Nachi Cocom is one of the back in the day. Nachi Cocom was a Mayan. He wasn't like I mean, I guess he was like a warlord, but it was much more like the Nachi Cocom, because of his family status, he was able to unify the kind of the last resistance of Maya holdouts to fight the Spanish conquistadors. And then in 1542, they had like their final rebellion, and the Spaniards, instead of killing Nachi Cocom, they actually, you know, kept him alive, let him live, and then just said, "Hey, be this kind of figurehead." And so, in the book I wrote, Where They Burn Books, They Also Burn People, Nachi Cocom is the guy who showed Diego de Landa the Mayan books, and then later in the story, in real life too, Diego de Landa burned all but 4 Mayan books. So, fake ally opponent. I guess this would be Fernan Rivera, because he's not really an ally. We find out later that he's a fake ally. Fake opponent ally is going to be, I don't think I have one on this. None. Maybe a police chief who gets my Incan powers. And then subplot character. I don't think I'm going to have a subplot. I probably won't have a subplot. Central moral problem. So, for example, in the previous book, the central moral problem is embracing where you come from, embracing your heritage, something along those lines. It could be trusting in your ancestors, trusting in your ancestral roots. central moral problem. What role does ancient traditions play in an increasingly modernized technological world? What role do... I don't need that. So that's kind of what we're going to be investigating through the book. So, main character again. Oh, we got to do archetypes. So archetypes help because then you can see, it gives you like shorthand for what kind of actions they might take. And it gives you their weaknesses. So, Chaska, I mean, we can say rebel because she's a girl and she's fighting against inherently patriarchal societies. So ally Hugo Cucom, he is going to be, I think, artist. He seems like an artist to me. Because if you see, so the way I left off the last book is when we first meet Hugo, and he's kind of like this softer soul, confused, but feels deeply. Fernan Rivera, he is going to be a trickster for sure. Fake, we can say this. Maybe you can say the police chief gets Incan powers. Let's say common Peru names. A nice normal Peruvian name for our police chief in Cusco. Top common Cusco. Let's actually say Cusco Peru names. You can look at famous people. Oh yeah, we can say Valentin. He's a Peruvian politician. So we can say Valentin. Valentin Roca. Valentin Roca. He's a police chief. Can make him we can make him a lover. So lover, beginning out lover is that it's not like they're like obsessed with romance, right? It's like lover is like they have they're caring, they're understanding, and they're supportive overall. So if Valentin Roca believes he's doing the right thing as a member of the police force, but then he realizes he's not, and that's when he switches and becomes kind of an ally for Jesus Channon and specifically Chaska Mamani. Ooh, I like that name. All right. So weaknesses. So this is easy because along with the archetype, there's also associated weaknesses. So you just kind of churn these out. Trouble with confidence, leading people, naive and trusting because he hasn't experienced the broader world. No, but he has. He traveled because he hasn't. He doesn't have a lot of experience. So, for example, In the first book, he was uncaring, unmotivated, lost, unambitious, indecisive. So now he's a little bit more ambitious, he has direction in his life, but he just doesn't have the kind of the backbone. Psychological needs to learn to trust his instincts. Moral need needs to, let's see, hold on, let me put a bookmark in here. So we set up here. Yeah, that can work here too. He needs to learn how to own being a leader and having people listen to his wants to help fellow marginalized indigenous communities. Values family. That's a big one we're going to see in the very beginning when his mother is the reason why he goes on the quest. I mean, we could probably come up with a better reason for the quest, though. I'll have to think about this one because it's almost like in think Star Wars, right? Like he has Luke Skywalker, and he's like, "Oh, you should go do this," and then he comes back and finds dead people. So it's like, "Oh, wow, okay, like shit hit the fan." So we almost need a stronger shit hitting the fan. What the heck? Why did it change? Look at this, Ariel. Interesting. Okay. So he values family, honesty, heritage, power, status, and ability. He has teleportation, can teleport objects. That's how you spell teleport, right? Sitting here giving me a red underline. That's how you spell teleport. Can teleport inanimate objects with Mayan magic. Leader. Unreluctant in magical. Reluctant leader in magical. Traditions and status. Low status because of features. Variation on the moral problem. So, believes in preserving ancient traditions without flaunting them to the wider world. All right. Chaskamamani. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I got a copy. Oh, yeah. I have another one. So pretty much have to fill this out for every single one. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. That's 3, that's 4, and 5. All right. Zebra, if you're still in here, you should look into, well, one, for sure, keep in mind when the Indigenous Magic book comes out in June, because it's, Mayan in Mexico, but the book I already wrote called Where They Burn Books, They Also Burn People, it's about kind of the history of Catholicism in Mexico, specifically the Yucatan Peninsula, because the Aztecs, they're a different beast. But this is talking about when the Catholic Church wanted to try and convert the Maya. So it might be something your esposa is interested in. Chascamamani, weaknesses, stubborn. Let's see. Destructive. Idealistic. Psychological need. Needs to understand that not everyone agrees with her. Oh, that's how it is. So psychological need, the difference between a psychological need and a moral need is psychological need is something that they need to learn about themselves, and a moral need is something they need to learn about dealing with other people. So that would be good. Learn that not everyone will believe in her correct vision of the world. And correct being in quotes. Psychological need. What does she need? Needs to overcome her fierce independence and trust / accept help from others. Desire, Chaska. Chaska wants, what does she want? She wants to invert the power structure. Flip indigenous Spanish axis, male, female axis. Her values, feminism, equality, I want to say reparations, but I don't know if reparations is a value. Values, feminism, equality, I'll say social justice. Make her kind of crunchy. We do need to meet her pretty early, though, to be honest with you. Oh, young woman. So meets Chaska without knowing it. So we meet her first, but then we find out so we're going to meet her, and then we find out that she's this kind of important person. Power status ability. Low status. As a female indigenous. Power, book smart, and resourceful. Abilities. We find out, oh yeah, she's tracker. Can track over vast distances. I'm gonna have to change this one. I don't really like that power very much. What are the other? There's another power I came up with. Residual essence. Yeah, that could work. I do want to include this though. Here's voices of songs. Somehow I got to do that. Variation on the moral problem. So, believes ancient traditions should be front and center of her home's culture, and specifically not just for commercial benefit. Ooh, you know what she could be? She could be the animal tracker. Can she communicate with animals? Similar to Jon Snow. Was it Jon Snow that could... Hey, any of you guys Game of Thrones nerds? Was it Jon Snow that could see into the hawk when they were looking at the king of the wildlings? Oh man, I should know all these names. But I was gonna say Mazer Rackham. That's Ender's Game. I get this shit confused. Similar to Jon Snow. But yeah, anyone that knows anything about Game of Thrones, was it Jon Snow that could, what was it, green seeing? Sees into the animals and sees through their eyes? Like Beastmaster. That shit was cool. I think I will make her Beastmaster. Because then I can really bring in the condors too. That's something. So fun fact, Andean condor, I think, has the 4th longest wingspan. So there's like a pelican and a couple other, and like another, I want to say it's like a pelican and like a seafaring bird, but yeah. Okay, yeah. But there's like one of the powers in Game of Thrones is that they can kind of like inject themselves into different animals. I think it's called green seeing. But all right, so keep moving, keep going. Hugo Cocom, he is the Mayan sidekick. Powers, can hear everything. Let's say it's called superhuman hearing. Lacking weaknesses, lacking confidence, doesn't speak up. Similar to lacking confidence, but I think it's worth specifying. Perfectionist. Controlling. Nah, he would be controlling. Cynical. That's a good one. Psychological need. What does he need to learn about himself? Needs to learn that his opinion matters. Moral need, how he relates to other people. What can it be? Moral need. He needs to understand that his black and white thinking is alienating. Find middle middle ground. Desire. Hugo wants to learn how to control his abilities and turn them off if possible. The noise of the world. Values. Values. Jesus. Money. No. I want to say like power structures, but like traditional power structures, but not traditional in the sense of the indigenous traditional in the sense of like normal. He values order and power. I'll say power structures. Variation on the moral problem. So, what does he think about into ancient traditions? Believes ancient traditions should be kept separate from day-to-day existence / away from those without access. Let's see. Fernand Rivera. Weaknesses. Cocky. What is his archetype? Trickster. Cocky, liar, looks out for himself. Psychological, needs to learn that his heritage isn't something to be exploited. Moral need, must learn how to. So he is very much similar to another character I wrote. So let's see what the moral need. Just learn how to stop using people as pawns in pursuit of power. Desire, Fernand wants control of ancient Incan relics, believing he can become a god among men. Values: power, money, status. His power, none. No magical powers. Has money. Speaks English. American. Variation on the and then also like minimal indigenous features / Spanish passing. Let's say Spaniard passing. Variation on the moral problem. Believes ancient traditions are there to serve him and him alone. Doesn't want any other marginalized indigenous taking any of the power magic he believes should be his alone. And then Valentin Roca. Weakness: trusting of authority, doesn't think for himself. Let's see. He is a lover, so he has his own inherent loses. All right, let's see. Psychological need. What? Needs to learn to trust his instincts. That's good enough. Moral need has to understand that other other people have worth despite their different opinions / life trajectories. Desire, and he's a police chief, so he wants to enforce order. He values order, civility, values, like I'm gonna say punctuality, but like almost like dedication, professionalism. High status as a police chief. No magical abilities. high status and power as a male police officer. No magical abilities. Low income. Variation on the moral problem. So doesn't believe ancient traditions have any place in a modern society. Wants to keep the streets clean. Jesus Chan. Character change. So we already did this kind of. His weaknesses. Are here. So his weaknesses, he has trouble with confidence, leading people. Naive and trusting because he does not have a lot of experience. This is Scrivener. So this is where I kind of break through everything, because you can have different. So what happens is, right, like I'll have multiple. So this actually turns into, here, watch. I'll show you how I'll show you how I format real quick. Is it on screen? Yeah, it is. I'll show you how I format. So this is going to be like first draft. So I'll call this manuscript. Let's call it draft number 1. And then within draft number 1, I put the chapter and scene, and then this is going to be chapter what, 2? And usually I'll just put scene 2 just so in case I do rearrange them. And then this will be scene 1, chapter 1, scene 1. And then as it goes, what I do is there's some notes I'll have in here as well that are going to be like, pretty much you have each. So globally, real quick, kind of like story theory is like globally, your story should have these seven steps. Okay, so you have your problem 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 is the revelation, then 7 is new equilibrium. And so it's like every single, but it's like nesting, it's like Russian nesting dolls, right? So the story has the 7 steps: problem, desire, opponent, plan, plan, battle, revelation, new equilibrium. And then each scene also has to have these bits. So that way you have your problem within the scene, you have your desire within the scene. And so usually I'll try and make it so that way I'll try and think of like a video game. So like, what is a video game? Like a video game objective, right? So it's like, get to the blank, protect the blank, gather the blank, solve the blank. And so as long as I can get that down, like what I want kind of the objective to be of the scene, I usually make that the problem, and then they kind of work through there. So and then so each scene that I write has all 7 of those steps. And then yeah. So now let's change. So we already decided what the change is going to be. Way up here. Change. He is transformed into a guide and leader. Oh, come on. There we go. Tentatively, his psychological revelation. We again already have that. Right here. He learns to trust his instincts. And then we have his moral self-revelation as well. He can be a guide. To be honest with you, the subplot character could be, potentially, it could be Hugo. Because that could be a microcosm for, I'll write this down, could be a potential, could be a microcosm of coming to grips with being a leader for the broader community. Psychological moral weakness and need. Psychological need. Needs to learn to trust his instincts. So they often work together because this is what he needs to learn. Okay, well then at the very end he learns that, right? And so then the same thing goes with his moral. And then at the end, so moral, he needs to learn how to be a leader. And then at the end, he becomes comfortable with being a guide for other people and cultures. So, all right, I think I'm good for today on the writing. I'm gonna take a 10 minute break and then come back and probably play some Destiny. So if you don't want to watch video games, I will see you tomorrow. And if you do, stick around and we can stick around, chat while I play Destiny. So I will see you guys back in a bit.